and welcome to Turtle Tracks Podcast. This is your host, Brian VanHooker, and I'm here with Trevor Zammit and Aaron Hazouri from NECA Toys. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Sure, this is fantastic.
So we're all here to talk about the Dimension X-Mas Christmas Vacation Turtles. I'll just tell the audience, so this is the second time we're doing this episode. The first time I messed up and the whole recording disappeared. So we're going to try to make this seem really spontaneous and lively, but we may fail. So I guess to start, we did this last time when we spoke, so I guess we can start here again. I was curious of when NECA, the Christmas, We Wish You a Turtle. So we're talking about the Christmas Turtles from NECA, which are based on We Wish You a Turtle Christmas. So I guess my question to start is, when We Wish You a Turtle Christmas came onto your guys' radar? I'm going to start with Aaron because I see he's chewing on something. So
it's a delicious banana pudding cookie. But
so
to answer your question,
hear of
I don't remember seeing the special as a kid.
Yeah,
I just remember kind of being aware of it. I know I'd seen pictures or something somewhere, commercials or something, but I don't think I saw it as a kid, because when I saw it later on, I remember thinking, what is this? I had vague memories of it, but probably 10, 15 years ago, or maybe longer. The internet is where I really first kind of thing in its entirety.
I think I was a teen or an adult, because I was saying, coming out of their shells, when I first heard that stuff, I was like, oh, this is really cool, because I was young and stupid enough to think it was awesome.
It was awesome.
I mean, it was, yes. There actually saw a couple of good, catchy, whatever songs, but
I had the tape. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, but the Christmas Turtles, that special, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is abysmal in the best way. It's just this really terrible special. So, Trevor, when did you first, if you remember?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a fuzzy memory of seeing it on TV maybe in the 90s, but that I don't really, I can't trust that memory for sure. I was definitely aware of it once it hit YouTube, and you go down that rabbit hole of all the bizarre Ninja Turtle things. So it was definitely more after the internet, after YouTube, I was like, wow, this thing's crazy. I saw it coming out of the Shells tour. I saw that live in concert.
Oh wait, you saw it in person?
I saw it in person. My parents.
Oh, I never did, which is upsetting.
Yeah, that I remember as it was happening. But yeah, the Turtle Christmas thing was, I think maybe it was on TV, and I was just like, oh boy, this is crazy. But yeah, it's definitely more looking back, researching just bizarre turtle history is definitely where I was more familiar with it.
What do you remember from coming out of their shells?
Okay, I saw it at the Sky Dome in Toronto. I think it was somewhere in Toronto. I think it was the Sky Dome. I remember the one thing I remember vividly was one of them came riding out on the skateboard on his belly. It's it was the performers were too scared to stand up on a skateboard, because they're just gonna wipe out on the stage. And I remember thinking this is ridiculous, because there were kids in the neighborhood that would ride a skateboard on their butt, or just scoot around, and it was you'd always kind of make fun of those kids for just not ride. In the movie, in the 1990 movie, Donatello's skateboarding a normal,
real skateboarding,
like a teenager. And then you see the coming out of the Shells tour, and they're just scooting around on their bellies or on their butts or something, playing it safe, so there's no accidents. And I was just oh, this is ridiculous. And then Shredder comes out and sings a song about how he hates music or hates singing, and it was such a polar opposite thing from the movie. And it was just, I just remember this is just crazy. Turtles are crazy.
I mean, how old would you have been then if it was 1990?
Okay, if it came out in 1990, I was 9 years old.
Okay, so you were 9 or 10. So were you old enough where you're oh, this isn't the same?
Yeah,
I was like,
you could watch that and just go, this is different than the movie.
sure, but I was like 5, and I think like I don't think my brain processed. Like if you think about the premise of that whole thing is they're done crime fighting,
Yeah.
and they're gonna go do music instead because and like isn't the city gonna be like overrun by the foot like in minutes? Like there's really
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I was old enough that like when I saw the movie, I was like, this is so completely different from the cartoon.
sure.
Like that kind of blew me away because I was just like, it's so dark. Because I didn't really know anything about the comics. I just knew the cartoon and the toys. And then the movie was like awesome. And then it was such a huge thing. My parents took me to this coming, like I had also like in previous years, like I had seen Ewoks on Ice and I saw the He-Man Power Tour. Like I had seen other like cartoon toy things like come to life in various stage performances and stuff. So this was like my dad, like this was another one that they took me to. And I was just right at that age where I was like, this is kind of weird, kind of goofy. Like Turtles is but the movie was so good that anchored kind of my love of Turtles, for many years to come. Because because the other stuff that they would do is like it would get so weird.
I mean the reason I should point out to the audience. So the reason why these things kind of go together is that the suits from the Coming Out of Their Shells tour were the ones that were used in the Christmas special. And it very much seems like, well, we have these suits, we got to do something with them. Let's make these shitty direct-to-VHS specials, spend almost no money on them, and do that. And one of them was this, We Wish You Would Turtle Christmas, and the other one was Turtle Tunes. So, but jumping to...
Amazing.
I don't know what Aaron's saying, but I know it's...
I said they're both amazing.
They're both amazing, yes.
So I'll get in close.
You said they're amazing.
I'll get in close.
Turtle Tunes I didn't know about until well after the Christmas. I think it wasn't until last Christmas when I was interviewing the woman who wrote the We Wish You Would Turtle Christmas. Maybe it was shortly before that Turtle Tunes came on my radar. And as bad as We Wish You Would Turtle Christmas is, there is still some enjoyable kitsch to it. And Turtle Tunes is immeasurably worse than that. Even
it's much worse. It's terrible. It's much worse.
I don't know, Trevor. Last time we were talking about Mystery of the Cliffs, and that's the same suits, but I don't really remember that one. Is there singing?
Oh yeah, that's the other. Yeah, we were talking about that. That's the other one that someone like you told me. I feel like you told me about this years ago.
I might have.
And and that was another one that I did not know about as a kid. I discovered online, and it was just like, yeah, that Mystery of the Cliffs is really, really strange, and it's just so weird and cool. And their Turtles just did so many bizarre things, so many different things.
Yeah,
kind of all at the same time. It was all happening, at once. There was like the show, everything was just it's weird. I can't think of another franchise that really has,
and all in like 1991. Like it's all there too. Like it all happens in that crazy. I guess the Christmas thing happens in 94, 93, but like so much happened all at the same time. And it's like they didn't say no to anything really. Like whatever came to Mirage's door, they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. That's fine. Let's just do that too. Sure. There was no, whatever the standards were is unclear. So I guess to jump into the toy set, it's fair to say that the Dimension X-Mas Christmas Turtles are built upon what you guys did with the Coming Out of Their Shell. Well, sorry, the musical Mutagen Tour Turtles. So I guess let's start there. So how did that set come about? Like, what made you want to do the musical tour Turtles?
Well, the musical tour, Randy had originally wanted to do that one. It was like an anniversary year for that. It seemed like just a fun, weird, kind of project for us. Like, Randy asked me if he goes, should we do those? Should we do like the music tour turtle? I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. So it was an anniversary year, so that's how those came about. And then we could reuse some of the movie turtle bodies. We just sculpted some new parts.
Sure.
So Jason Fraley sculpted the heads with the big kind of creepy eyes and the big teeth, the big wide open mouths and everything. I got to sculpt like the tennis shoes and the sequined knee pads and some of the other bits for the music turtles. And then Josh Sutton sculpted all the instruments, I think, for that set. And it kind of seemed like a one-off. Like we were gonna do those music turtles, and then
Sure,
that was it. We weren't ever gonna go back to that again.
that's as weird as it's gonna get. I remember.
Yeah.
I doubt you remember this, but I remember the first I saw of them is I was visiting. You were at NECA in Jersey, and I had come by and said hello, and I saw this. It was still in white. It was like the mold of just the head of that, and I was like, and this was what, it must have been 5 years ago at least, and so it was still early in the line, and I was like, what are you like? I was like delighted, but also like incredulous. Like, what are you doing that you're making these? It was like this really fucked up little face with his teeth and stuff. And I was like so like delighted and shocked that you guys were going for that deep of a cut, which was wonderful.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember you coming out to visit. I don't remember it was like as we were working on that. That's cool you got to see those things, because it is going to like the NECA office. It is fun to just kind of see what's on everyone's desk, all the projects, all the weird stuff everyone's working on. So
I also remember you telling me that like with the tennis shoes that I think it was with the factory that you'd gotten into like a dispute with them about it, just because they kept wanting to make them bigger and you having to keep shrinking them down to a point where like they would be in the show, but like they're like small feet that they have.
That happened on a couple of things. The heads, I had them kind of blow up the heads like another 4% maybe, because it was like the heads needed to just be a little more comically oversized.
Yeah.
Because once we put on the jackets, like those denim, they had the soft goods like vests. That I knew, like, just because of the fabric being at that size, that was going to bulk up the bodies. And I was like, just tell the factory to like, just blow up the heads another like 3 or 4%, just so they are like, and they were like, they're too big. And then I think with the feet too, because like the tennis shoe is smaller than like the turtle foot, but the turtle foot is like a slipper that a human's foot goes into. So I was just
like the human toes aren't.
I was like, the turtle is not a real creature. It's just like the shoe just needs to fit like a tiny, like a person's foot, like an actor's foot, right? So yeah, it was like, make the heads bigger, you're making the shoes too big, shrink the shoes down. So yeah, there's always like fine tuning stuff like that, and especially when it's an oddball project where it's like the factory's like, it's gonna look bad, and it's like, that's the point. Like, we have to intentionally make it look. They're like, the head's too big. It's not gonna look right. And I'm like, no, it has. That's if it doesn't look right, then that's when it's right. So,
do you remember whose idea it was to have a hinge? Do you remember whose idea it was to have a hinged jaw? Because that makes it is the creepy that.
Yeah, that was the sculptor Jason, who's just like a really obsessive, like crazy talented sculptor, and with all of these projects he wants to sculpt everything like a functioning puppet, like the actual suits. He wants to do blinking eyes and hinged jaws, and like he wants to put in as much articulation as possible. So like on Toka, he sculpted Toka, he's got like hinged eyebrows in the beak and the mouth. There's like multiple points, like more articulation than there needs to be, but it pushes that figure way over the top, and it's just even more awesome because it has all those extra little bits.
Token has a range of just because of that. He has a range of emotions, that toy.
Yeah.
that many other toys don't have.
Yeah, exactly. So Jason's always pushing things to like their limit or past that. And he's really good at like hiding joints and just making everything look kind of seamless. So like putting the hinge jaw in those heads, that was all Jason. And the factory's really good at like just keeping all that, like engineering it so it actually functions like in production. So yeah, having the hinge jaws and those big like sunken in like creepy eyes and stuff, they're like it's perfect to like to kind of capture the look that we wanted.
Has there ever been a temptation to have hinge jaw on any of the movie turtles, other than like the actual movie turtles?
Jason always wanted that, and we were constantly just fighting him because it's just, yeah, we haven't done it yet. So,
I can't
yeah.
imagine like it would be because the way those suits were like, I don't know, the way that the shape of them, I can't imagine it would look good.
It's yeah, because well, the lips move also. Like, there's a lot of movement.
Right.
On those masks, it's not just like an up and down, like snapping.
Right.
Like,
Whereas
not like a duck bill, you know. So like,
yeah.
There's so much movement in those faces that trying to get all those weird little like, all those little like secondary movements and stuff, and like it's just you're better off just sculpting like a bunch of different heads, like different expressions, and just swapping the heads out because they'll never match. And all four heads are different, so that complicates it too. Is like you're not just doing one turtle head. You got to sculpt like multiple rafts and
And the point of having the hinge jaw is so that it looks like it has different like emotions, right? So like if it only looks good with the mouth closed or the mouth open, it's gonna look like it's not worth doing.
Yeah, well, it's got that kind of Chuck E. Cheese vibe to it, like
sure.
It works for the music turtles because like they're kind of like they're not as sophisticated as like the Henson costumes, So
Yeah.
having that like open and close like flapping mouth thing, it works for them. And they're on stage singing, so you can put them in these like screaming poses. It works for that. It's great. So
yeah, for my Christmas decorations, I posed the Christmas ones caroling with like all the mouth like holding like I found the VHS cover and shrunk it down and printed them out and like positioned them in their little hands so they could be caroling. Like
cool.
Yeah. So let's get to the Christmas turtles. So how did when did the Christmas turtles come to be? Like where did it start?
Okay, so the original idea kind of started back when I was at DC Direct, and I wanted to make like a fake like Rankin Bass like DC superheroes toy line, and that never happened. It was just like this idea that I had. Warner Brothers, I think, owns Rankin Bass or something. It could have, anyways, it didn't happen, but it was always in the back of my head of just like making like fake Christmas specials for stuff that I like that never really got one. And then when I came back to NECA, and then we were doing like tons and tons of turtle stuff, the Dimension X-Mas Vacation was like a good title that I kind of had kicking around. And there was like a couple of years where another artist, we tried doing the Rankin Bass thing a couple of years ago, and it was really tough to like come up with some designs that had the right feel or something. But then also you were asking me to make a Christmas turtle set for a couple of years.
For at least a good 5-6 years for Christmas.
Yeah. So so that also, like, you've been asking for this for a while. And then it just everything kind of lined up where like Walmart needed a 4-pack for something that they were trying to sell. They had like a program and they needed like a turtle 4-pack, and it was just like the timing was right. And then I was talking to Randy, and it was just sort of like probably the only other time we're going to get to use like the music turtles for anything else.
Sure.
So it wasn't, there was no there's no Christmas episode on the cartoon. There's like the Mikey.
Like they're like you've done. I mean, they did so many episodes that were like kind of the same. Like there's Planet of the Turtles, Planet of the Turtleoids. There's probably 6 episodes that are like, hey, let's do Gremlins. Oh, let's do Gremlins again.
Yeah.
Like,
there's like a little creature, a baby that like it's huge, like wrecks the city, and
they feed the wrong thing. And like, oh wait, let's have Donatello grow. We did that already. Okay, let's have April. Let's have Irma grow. Like there's so many ideas. They're just like, we'll do that one again. Who cares? They don't know. They're kids.
But they never did like a Christmas special.
Right? No Christmas episode. They did Easter.
Yeah. With Hope and Bear or something. But yeah, so there's no. So it was like, all right, should we try to make up like a cartoon thing or whatever? And then there's like,
I mean, was that tempting though? Like, was that tempting though? Because the cartoon line is, I don't know, like safer than let's make these freaky things. And also, like, you guys have been doing more like original stuff, like the samurai suit, the space suit. Like you guys are venturing out into a little bit to like what if territory. Was it tempting to maybe do a cartoon one?
That's always the first choice. Is that like the cartoon line is obviously like the biggest or maybe like the flagship thing for the brand. So like that's always the first choice. But then it's like, well, we have so much cartoon stuff already anyways. Yeah. And then trying to balance out the other lines, like, you know, there's not as much movie stuff to do. So this was like, you know, maybe this is the last time we're ever gonna get any sort of reuse on the music Turtles. So so it just kind of fell into place. And Walmart needed something, and Walmart has like kind of the exclusive rights to the movie stuff. So so they wanted a 4-pack, and then it ended up being like this Christmas toy guide, something or other.
It's in their toy catalog.
They had that toy catalog thing.
It's not in their stores anywhere that I've seen. I know it's in their toy catalog.
I think it started with like an online thing.
Okay.
Maybe they're out now. Who knows?
I think you can order it still. I think so.
Yeah. So that's kind of how these came about. It was just like, you know, we had this idea for a while. I knew you wanted. Yes. Someday I was gonna make Christmas Turtles for you. Someday it would eventually happen. And then
practical business decisions of making toys just for the one person. That worked for the money.
Making toys for me and my friends. So that's how all this stuff gets made.
Yeah, I know that worked for the money.
But yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Was like Walmart needed something, and we had this idea. We pitched it to Nickelodeon. They were just like, "Huh? Like what is this?" And then they're okay. Eventually, they were like cool with it.
And you're not allowed to use "We Wish You a Turtle Christmas," right?
Yeah, it was just like with the coming out of the shells, we had to just make it something else, which was fine because the Dimension X-Mas Vacation, I just really liked that title anyways. So it's like let's call it this. And then the like the Santa hats are from like this Secret of the Ooze poster, and you know, the
right, because they don't wear Santa hats in the special.
No, they don't. And all 4 of them have scarves that doesn't happen.
Right, only Mikey has that big white scarf in the special.
And there's a really famous podcaster on the skateboard. So there's all kind. We're pulling from all different directions, you know.
Aaron, can you talk about like? So okay. I'm gonna play dumb here. So I asked, like, my face is on the skateboard. I'd asked which one of you idiots had come up with that idea. Trevor had said we're gonna put VanHooker on it. Aaron, don't tell him. Aaron, Aaron, can you talk about the journey that you had with that, finding that
journey
and all that?
I talk about the journey.
Skateboard,
please.
Well, a lot of times Trevor will say, "Hey, we need find this or look this up," and so he said, "Try to find this skateboard." So I found the skateboard that was in the special. And we knew we couldn't use that because it wasn't like a custom skateboard; it was like a mass-produced thing. So we couldn't use that. So we had to make new art anyway. Trevor said we should put Brian's face on it. I said that's a good idea. And the original guy on the skateboard is holding like a spear, but we decided to make it a Van Hook on the skateboard instead of a spear. And I think it's got like a piece of pizza on it or something because they're turtles.
Sure.
So that's how the skateboard happened.
I was like, when I got, this came out in I think July or whenever San Diego.
We announced it in San Diego.
Yeah.
We announced it in July.
But I got it like I think in June-ish, and I remember like you didn't tell me what you were sending me, but I opened up this thing and saw there were Christmas turtles, and like I was just super psyched that there were Christmas turtles. Like and then 10 minutes later is when I saw the little skateboard with my stupid face on it, and I was like, my face and my receding hairline was on this skateboard. I was super thrilled. So I'm still very flattered and touched by it. So thank you guys.
What do you think of all the comments that are like, am I supposed to know who this is?
That was my favorite part, maybe, is when there was a couple of reviews are like, it says Van Hook. Am I supposed to know who that is? And then they just dismiss it and move on to the next thing. So, I mean, obviously that's my favorite accessory, but I think the other great accessory is the pizza, the disgusting looking pizza in the picture frame, which is from the special also. So, I mean, who sculpted the pizza in the frame?
Yeah, all the new Christmas parts, they're all sculpted by Josh Sutton. So yeah, he did the pizza in the frame, which is like such a weird thing. The Christmas lights, he sculpted that.
That was a big deal for you. You were saying.
Yeah, that's my personal. Other than the skateboard, it's like the tangled up Christmas lights is my favorite part, because it's just the factory did not want to make it. It was really complicated to tool it, and then to paint all the individual bulbs. They're like different colors and stuff. So just like Josh was able to sculpt it digitally, but make sure it was sitting on the traditionally sculpted like toy, because we don't have digital files of the movie turtles. So Josh is really good at mixing and matching like traditional with digital, getting it to all work and fall into place. And and the factory just wanted to have like a string of Christmas lights that you just find like, at a hobby store or something. And I was like, no, that's gonna suck. Like the scales, like you're never gonna find one that looks, and it just looks lazy if you did that. So
the bulbs are always too big on those.
They're all, it's never right. And then you want it to light up or something, it's not gonna do that. It's just, whenever you have to source stuff at the market, there's always like limitations, or it's like there's something that you gotta just accept, that it's like, all right, this isn't going to be as good as if we just sculpted it ourselves. So and then we put wires in the scarves, so there's dynamic posability in this oversized like Christmas scarf. That's we tried to put in as much as we could with this ridiculous box set.
I noticed if you put a scarf on a toy, it's automatically Christmassy. Like I wanted April set up with those Christmas turtles, and I was like, I don't have a hat that fits. I put the scarf on. I was like, oh, that's Christmas April. It is just put a scarf on it. It's totally fine. And Aaron did the packaging on the boxes, right, Aaron?
I did. I painted the gift wrap.
The gift.
I designed the gift wrap. Yeah.
Now, and those are also in the movie, correct?
Yes, those are accurate to the special, I believe.
You could tell they were little snowmen, because I like the resolution is terrible on the.
Well, yeah, they're little snowmen. The resolution's bad, but what else could they be? Process of elimination, they had to be snowmen. Something else.
Not just white blurs. Sure. And what changes needed to be made from the music turtles to the Christmas turtles?
Talk about their bulge on their shelf.
Yeah, please, let's talk about the bulge. Because Aaron's the big proponent at NECA.
I am
this and Ace Stock. We talked about this. Yes.
Yeah, he's always like talking about those bulbs and stuff. So we made the changes that that seem necessary, like the droopy shell and the plastron, like those are clearly like different looking than the music tour ones. They've just got like belts, just regular,
Oh yeah, like JCPenney belts.
It's just like a belt, like a buckle on it. So it was like we have to do those.
Yeah.
they have that super long, oversized like bandana, like the mask knot, like the ties on the back of the head, like they droop down like to their butts, you know? So like that obviously we had to redo that. And then that I think everything else, I think we switched back to the movie knee pads and elbow pads. It's the same tennis shoes, just like painted black.
Right.
The leg warmers are just like black or brown or something. So it wasn't like a ton of new sculpting. It was just like a couple of pieces. I really want to make sure like the shell was like kind of flat and droopy, and then making sure the plastron like just kind of matched what it looked like in the special. So
we should talk about what the reaction's been like, because it's very much like, oh, like for the diehard fans, there's a certain type of fan that's like really like, oh, this is amazing, and there's others that are like,
some people might be a little horrified, but it's just like, you know, that's kind of what they look like, and we always try to match stuff as close as we can or be accurate as much as possible. And oh God, what was I just gonna say? There's something that just escaped me. What was?
I don't know what it was.
Oh dear,
it's not in your head. But I will say,
Aaron's favorite comment is that you guys are scraping the bottom of the barrel.
They always say they're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but there's no. First, the barrel has no bottom. It goes deep, and there's no bottom to the barrel. But second, if it was just like a repaint, I would say, okay, you're right. This is a cash grab, because I see that a lot too. It's a cash grab. But there's so much like there's new stuff in there. They're like the presents are accurate. The stupid pizza in the frame is accurate. Like it's not, none of it is just like thrown together.
Yeah,
it's all really.
Yeah,
we really carefully research the stupid stuff so that it's accurate to the thing. It's not like it's just kind of, all right, let's throw this thing together and put it in Walmart. It's really, it takes a while to get these things to look the way that is accurate to what they look like in the special. So as dumb as it is, as silly as it is, no less work goes into it than, I don't know, movie Toka or something. It's like the same amount of work, same amount of like excitement for these things. Maybe even more excitement for this than like Casey Jones or something. I don't know, because this is so dumb. We tend to get excited over dumb stuff sometimes.
It's fun. I mean, it's fun to work on. If it's just when you're working on this stuff and it's sort of like making you happy or you're laughing, you're just sort of like, this is just it. Like they're just a lot of these projects are just still fun to work on. You know. So,
I mean, are you still in disbelief? Like, I can't believe we're making turtles from this stupid special.
I mean, sometimes, and this thing won an award. Like Blaine told me that when it was announced or when it came out earlier in the year, like we had won some award for something. Award, I was just like, it's hilarious and just awesome that like, you know, we just get to make. I feel like this is this kind of stuff that like other companies might not do. You know, like Randy is super cool, just kind of letting us like run wild with turtles, and people still seem to like the stuff, and it's just, you know, it's still just really fun to work on, even if it's kind of ridiculous or something.
I mean, that's why like NECA is bar none my favorite toy company, because the amount of detail that you put in that like you don't have to, right? Like there's so many things where I'm like, well, why'd you bother with like when we got the Mighty Hog and Bebop and Mighty Hog and Rhino Man.
Rhino Man.
Right? Like new heads for those guys, which nobody was asking for, we didn't need. But man, the fact that you made them look like they do in that episode and some other episodes, because nothing's consistent about that show. Like I said, I love the fact that you guys put in the details that nobody's like, that they're just because they're important to you. So
yeah, a lot of these deep cuts are, Trevor, we'll sit around and be like, maybe we should do this. Do you remember this? What's this weird thing? Maybe we should make a toy of this strange thing. There's so many just deep cuts in the cartoon and in the comics, and movies not as much, but there's so many like weird things to still mine out of this.
Well, the movies are an extra complication too, because like the side characters are humans. Like, do you need the old couple getting into a cab? Like, I mean, I would probably buy them, but like, I don't know if you need those. You have to find out who they are, right? You have to find out they're dead, obviously. So you got to figure out who their kids are to see if you
Yeah,
can get
find their estate or something like.
right. So I mean, there's obviously there's a.
Yeah, it's the old lady's name is like Sophie or something, right? He's like,
Oh, I don't remember.
he goes, let him get their own cab.
Yeah, a very New York joke in that.
Yeah.
And we should talk about the packaging. Who did the packaging? Tell me how they're great.
Oh man,
Travis.
yeah, the package designer, my best friend Travis in the whole world did the packaging. He's great. He does all of our packaging for the turtles. And this one too, just like knocked it out of the park. Got like kind of the VHS look on the slip cover. And then you slide the box out and it is just like this beautiful gift wrapped, wonderful present that's like, what more could you want? He did a great job on this on the box.
And it mimics the VHS box of the original special. Like I love those VHS boxes. Those are like the movie ones. I've saved those. They're such great. Like whenever I know you guys release the same toys like later in the year via 2-packs, but like I always get the VHS box because they're just awesome.
They look cool together. Once we did the third movie, and we had the 3 box. I had the 3 box sets like lined up next to each other, and it's just they were like these giant oversized VHS tapes. Like the packaging just looks so cool, like all lined up next to each other on the shelf. So this one fits right in with that, with like the VHS style. But yeah, Travis is great. He does a great job.
He does a great job always.
Yeah, always
on everything. He goes over and like beyond, adds dots.
He'll he'll obsess over some details, and then we'll be like, that looks fine. You could like let it go, move on to it. He'll get really obsessive over stuff, and he'll get lost in it, and then but he always does a great job.
He has an eye for detail.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'll end with I already know who your favorite turtles are. I mean, I forget right now, but we'll end with we'll end with what your favorite Christmas movie is. Aaron, let's start with you.
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Why is it Ernest Saves Christmas?
Like is incredible. If he did like an Easter movie, that'd be my favorite Easter movie.
I did a thing for work not long ago when I wrote for Mel magazine, one of my many insane articles.
I know about your Mel articles. Yeah,
I watched every Ernest everything ever, and I don't think I'd seen any of it as a kid. So I watched all this stuff as an adult. It's not like I like the Christmas one, and maybe
choose your words carefully, Brian, because this could
no. Like there's
go wrong, honestly.
Batting average is really off. Like I think I can 3 of them.
If he had lived, they could have done like
he lived
like that movie. What was that movie with Jesus? What was it called?
Passion.
There we go. The Passion. Ernest could have been in the Passion, and it would have been.
I agree with that.
Even better.
It probably would have been less culturally insensitive.
So good.
Africa.
Ernest is like now. Some of the movies fell off because he went to some strange. But still, they
dip after a little while.
But he always gave 100%.
There's a whole special just about him riding. What's that mountain that had all the racist animals in it in Disney World?
Splash Mountain.
When Splash Mountain debuted, there was a whole half-hour special just about him riding it.
Yeah, why wouldn't there be?
The phenomenon of Ernest is really.
He could hang out in this office with us for half an hour, and it'd be worth recording. It'd be better than this podcast. It'd be incredible.
It would be much better.
There is some very funny stuff. Like the commercials, I actually do like the Christmas one. The Christmas one is good. People like the Halloween one, which I'm like, that one. There's like a weird.
Okay.
That one's okay.
Okay.
The Ernest Goes to Jail is probably the peak. That one's probably the best. Ernest, the camp. I did like that. The first one. That one's great. Those are like the best 4.
The top tier.
And then there's like Slam Dunk Ernest and then
so many.
He's like in the army now.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember
a little weirder in the 90s.
I pitched this idea like, oh, I should watch all the Ernest stuff. Won't that be funny? Thinking they were like 3-4 movies.
There's so much.
No, there's a lot, and
There's like 11. There's a TV show. There's all the commercials.
was great.
I watched like it was like a
It was
week. All
great.
I watched was Ernest. It
So
was rough. So
he's great.
No,
He's Slinky Dog, and he was on
Slinky,
Simpsons.
greatest Slinky Dog, yes.
He's great. All the characters he do in those movies.
he was so good.
Oh no, but they're terrible. Like Ernest is a funny character. Every other stupid character that he did, I was like,
Whoa. No. His aunt, like when he played the aunt with the thing. Oh
Yeah,
my God, he's
with that neck
hilarious.
brace.
And he
I like when in the Christmas one. I like when he's like the snake herder.
so good.
Yeah, he's
Brian, we've reached a generational gap apparently because you're a little younger than us and you don't get it.
I didn't watch any of this
Probably like
stuff.
Jim Carrey movies.
there's another very famous podcast where they do an episode about Ernest Goes to Jail, and they talk about how sexy the evil Ernest is.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
remember
other,
hearing
have
this.
you heard that? Oh God, it's so hilarious.
So weird.
They're
His
like,
all
he's
slicked
so,
back and
his hair's all slick. They're like, he's so hot. Whoa, evil Ernest, really? It's oh God, it's great.
Trevor, favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, favorite. There's so many to choose from. The one that I watch every year, and I have watched every year since I was a kid, is Muppet Family Christmas. I think that is like
It's a good one.
probably that's like my go-to every year. It's the best.
I just watched that, no joke, with my daughter like an hour and a half ago. And
Oh,
man,
that's-
it's always funny. Like there's like you had said this, but like there's every character gets a moment, and
Yeah.
they all are like home runs. Everybody gets their thing. Like
Yeah.
Swedish Chef. The greatest thing though is just the idea that like you have Big Bird, who is like this icon of children's television, and the joke in this special is that Swedish Chef wants to cook him. Like
Yeah,
the greatest thing to me.
It's
so
great.
funny.
He sort of lures them into the kitchen and stuff. Like it's,
Yeah.
it's really, yeah. It is every character in that special. They all get their moment. They're all hilarious. When like Fozzie and the Snowman, like
Yes.
work up like a new like 5 minutes of comedy or whatever. Like they have an act. That's great. Rolf comes in with the out of tune piano and like.
Boy, am I just chased the car here, and boy, am I exhausted. That joke.
Yeah, it's just so perfect. Like that movie is so great.
Ralph's my favorite Muppet, and his like his arrival's great. Everybody is funny on the Icy Patch, but like his Icy Patch slip is hilarious. Like there's so many great.
Yeah, and then he's talking to Sprocket,
Yes.
and he's like, oh yeah, bark, woof. And like Doc's all jealous. He's don't you wish you could speak the language? Like yeah, Rolf is hilarious with Sprocket, and when Bert and Ernie are talking to Doc, and they're just like, this where we come from. This is small talk, where they're just like,
Yeah.
B words and bunk beds and all that stuff. It's just, oh, it's so great.
I love how offended Sam Eagle is that they made the two-headed monster Santa Claus in their little Christmas play.
Oh, in the pageant, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like-
Everyone's got a moment in that
Yeah.
episode, in that movie. It's great.
And Statler and Waldorf have a great moment because like there's no reason for them to be there, and then they just show up and
Oh, and Fozzie's devastated that like his mom is friends with them. It's like such a betrayal. They're all of a sudden they're just there in the room, and she's like, "Well, I see them every year." Like it's so awesome.
the ones who torture her son. It's so great. All right, guys, thank you for doing this twice. I am so grateful. Go Walmart.com, get your Dimension X-Mas turtles. They're also in like the toy catalog. They have a physical catalog, which this is in. So, but these are great turtles, and I appreciate you guys doing this. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
It's on its way. And now it's time for one of my all-time